ADOS and our allies. You know who it is. Angela Nirvana, your hostess with the mostest on the Friends of ADOS TV channel. Angela Nirvana presents The Way I See It. Follow in, family. Bringing you those ADOS hot topics and making the case for reparations. And today's show is all about bridging this horrific divide between my immigrants, whom I love, and the ADOS movement. You know, I have so many immigrant friends throughout the country, throughout the world, and what ADOS is doing by putting a gate up around our reparations has offended many of you because the media and the government, what's up, Fist Music? Thank you for joining the live, are fully invested in COINTELPRO-ing the ADOS movement. Absolutely. They are fully invested in replacing us with immigrants. And that's no fault of your own, because many of you don't know how treacherous this government has been to us since we were dragged over here in chains. It's unfortunate that you guys don't really know the history, because the government gets a head start trying to paint the ADOS out as being shiftless and lazy and not taking advantage of programs that you guys take advantage of. This is a narrative. So I'm here to dispel all of that. I'm here to bridge the divide between us. Please share in the chat any questions or comments you have as I go through the numbers in a loving way. I'm not trying to make you guilty, because I don't believe many of you know what has happened to ADOS and why we are now bottom caste and in the fight of our lives to prevent from becoming the permanent underclass in the country our ancestors built with their lives. So I want to lovingly share with you how we got here. Not playing the blame game. I want us to really work towards healing and not allowing this government to continue to divide us and make us fight with one another. Okay, so follow in, start your watch parties. I'm still doing a little prep work for the show while the music plays out. That is my brother, the incomparable Robert Sine. You can check him out on CD Baby. He is everything, family. And I love him black and strong like I love you guys. Come on in. I'm just trying to get one last set of information together to really talk with you guys about what's happening to the ADOS in the country our ancestors built with their lives. And this is no slight to what you've had to endure in your countries. Okay? I want you guys to understand that being pro-ADOS is not anti-immigrant and it's not pro-Trump. Bump what you heard. That's not how any of this works. So I'm here to speak for myself and many of the people in the ADOS movement who have encouraged me to have this show in love, to set the record straight on how we are not xenophobes. We are simply bottom caste and really in a serious fight as they seek to replace us this election cycle, and just get you some more understanding around why we believe the way we believe and why we are disrupting this election cycle, why we are looking at voting. Well, I am going to be voting Green Party at the top of the ticket, Democratic down ballot, so that we can finally try and get some movement on the reparations. Kamala and Joe have said they're not doing anything specifically for us, and I'm here to make the case of why they need to do something for us. Okay, family? So follow in, start your watch parties. Thank you for joining the live. I'll be right with you momentarily. Okay, thank you guys for joining the live. Just a couple more seconds here. I'll share something really amazing with you. You know, there's nothing that makes me more proud than to be in this fight and for my daughter, just when I think she's not listening. She absolutely is very engaged in my movement work for the ADOS. And I've been really pushing her because she has an opportunity down here in Long Beach, as do all of Long Beach Unified, to complete their associate degree while at the same time completing their high school diploma. And so she had her first college course this past summer, and now the fall season has started. She's planning on taking psychology and computers. And so she had her orientation just, a couple hours ago. And she put the orientation on hold to share with me that of the 50 students in the orientation, she was the only ADOS. The rest were all Asian. And I'm sorry, guys, it's like 100 degrees down here and I'm sweating. We don't really have AC because we're accustomed to getting an ocean breeze. But this weather has been atrocious. So forgive me, but I will be wiping and mopping my face often. But back to my daughter, there's nothing that makes me more proud than to know my daughter is fully aware of what's happening to ADOS and that it helps her to be invested in her education in a way like I've never seen her. Some of the things she puts together in terms of just overhearing me with my show, in our meetings, the way she's putting it together is making her more serious in ways that I can't singularly push for, right, family? Because they think they gave birth to us. She's 16, a junior in high school. And, it's nothing like them being able to see it for themselves and it landing on them. No greater accomplishment as a parent in this fight for ADOS all over the country because we are about that community upliftment. We're not in the ADOS movement. We're highly educated. Many of us are working professionals, and we are fighting for the voiceless. We are fighting for the voiceless. So, there's nothing that makes me more proud than when my daughter engages, and then especially when I get to hear her sharing with her peers about the ADOS movement and the things we're fighting for. So I just had to share that with you while I prepare my notes. Like I said prior, thank you for joining the live, the Blackboard. Zick TK, thank you. Fist Music, thank you for joining the live, guys. This show is, like I said from the top, about mending, healing, broken hearts from this division that is. Hi, Hassan. Thank you for joining the live. Thank you so much. Oh, I just love her, Black and Strong. She is a powerhouse out of the ADOS DMV. Thank you for joining the live. But this show is all about bridging this divide and dismantling this whole notion that we are xenophobic. The ADOS movement is very self-interested because it is clear by the numbers that we have been neglected and we have been neglecting ourselves. And so I wanted an opportunity to speak to you directly. My guest is celebrating, my guest that was supposed to come on the live today, Andrea Michelle from the Caribbean, to help me make this case. She is actually celebrating her mother's 90th birthday, and we'll have to reschedule that show to next Thursday. But that show is coming. But I didn't want to waste an opportunity to speak with my immigrants directly. I have been so fortunate to have lived all over the country and have made friends from all walks of life: Africans, Caribbeans, Asians, Hispanic. And the last thing I want to do in my fight for reparations for my people is to estrange the ones I love. And there are many people in the ADOS movement who have immigrants as friends and family, and they too share my sentiment that we love you guys black and strong. This fight is not against you. This fight is against a government who has had their boots on our neck since they dragged us over here in chains for the most heinous chattel slave labor in the born world. And many of you come from predominantly Black countries and islands. Or when I'm speaking with Hispanics, I know you guys have an axe to grind, especially the Mexicans. You were here and then were pushed out. So I know everybody has their individual fights. But every time ADOS tries to stand up and fight for us, we've got this extra thing happening where we're the media and the government are trying to COINTELPRO us to obfuscate the real issues here, is that they have literally tethered us to the bottom, because that's what capitalism requires, is that somebody be on the bottom. And the numbers are atrocious. They have weaponized your immigrancy against us. And you can even hear it in the debates. I didn't really watch the debates, but I heard it in some of my favorite commentators over in the YouTube space about how they were promoting immigrants while not even addressing that we were here before 1619 and everything that happened all the way up until the 65 Immigration Act. When you look at those debates, you can see this effort by our government to really highlight immigrants because you guys are winning at our expense. And so I wanted to have this show and speak to you in love about the numbers and about what's happening in a more succinct kind of way. The affirmative action that was granted was due to our civil rights fight. And shout out and thank you to all the immigrants that helped us in that fight. But I think that the history here that's being taught is not honest. It's not truthful. They want to talk about the very, nonviolent Martin Luther King Jr. when he was forming the People's March, and then they murdered him because during that People's March, he was coming back for more than just access to the fountain and access to the toilets and access to the same busing. He was coming for that reparations check, and that's what they keep out of the conversation when they talk about Martin Luther King Jr. all the time. They don't tell you guys that that's what he was coming for, and then he was assassinated. So the ADOS movement has picked up that fight because if we don't get that reparations, we will become as extinct as the Indians. That's what they're working on. So They have weaponized our affirmative action against us to prop up white women, to prop up immigrants, to prop up LGBTQ. And by the time you guys come in and fill in all those spaces, there's nothing left for the ADOS. So you're not dealing with the lazy people. You're dealing with a people that have been victims of institutionalized systemic racism in every facet of our living. We're talking our communities. We're talking being redlined into environmentally hazardous tenement housing, you know, the jungle, the hood. And then when white folks want to take that back, they come over and then they gentrify our communities. You're talking about miseducating us. You're talking about denying us jobs. They're more prone to hire immigrant workers over ADOS. So they miseducate us. They starve us out. They redline us into environmentally hazardous conditions. They are able to execute us by government sanction through the laws. They deny us loans so that we can get our own business off the ground. They deny us home loans so that we can own homes, but when you don't employ us, we don't even have enough income to buy the homes. Like, it's a whole racket involved in institutional systemic racism. And by and large, they need us to stay tethered to the bottom, and they incent you to help in those efforts. You don't even know that you're being used as a tool in this way. I'm assuming the people, the immigrants I know and love, have no idea what is happening. So in a couple of shows, I have shared with you guys that here in Los Angeles, ADOS is $200 liquid. There are 6% of Blacks down here, which the Color of Wealth report, it's a free download. You can Google Color of Wealth Los Angeles, Color of Wealth Boston, Color of Wealth Miami. And you can study those reports, and it's all in the numbers. It's abysmal, family. So just a couple of footnotes so that you can understand why ADOS is fighting with everything we've got in us for reparations and a Black agenda, which includes you, of which I'll share momentarily. I don't want to lose my original train of thought. I'm going to try to stay on topic and not do that. But basically, down here in LA, we're 6%. The Color of Wealth does not break out what percent is Caribbean, what percent is African immigrant, and what percent of that 6 is ADOS. I would venture to say we've already been replaced by Black immigrants down here in Los Angeles, given that we're $200 liquid, 44% of the degree down here, and 90% on Skid Row. And in the entire nation, of the homeless families, 50% of those, or more by now since COVID, are ADOS. And yet, African immigrants, they didn't break out the Caribbean immigrant numbers down here, but I have Caribbean friends down here, so I know they're down here and they're successful. But the Caribbean immigrants down here in Los Angeles are worth $60,000 liquid to our $200 liquid, okay? Our median income, ADOS, is $53,500 to African immigrants, $115,000. And when you're dealing with Kamala Harris's Asian Indian sector, whom she said she's going to make a pathway for more of them to come over here under the H-1B visas, which Joe Biden has concurred, they're bringing in more Brahmin Indian caste to take over tech jobs. When down here, in LA, they are $245,000 liquid. To African immigrants, $60,000 liquid. To whites, $110,000 liquid. To African immigrants, $60,000 liquid. So you can sit up here and tell us no, that you aren't going to do anything specifically for us when we are the reason everyone else has come up. You can see in those numbers who has taken it on the chin for 55 years being the mule of the Democratic Party. They have tethered us to the bottom. We have allowed our boomers to sell us on this lesser two evil two-step shuffle all the way to our own demise in the country our ancestors built with their lives. So I don't think many of you know that. I took a few pictures so that I don't have to scroll through 1,000 pages, and I will leave room in the show to visit your comments. So please share your comments and your questions in the chat, and I will be sure to leave a little room. I don't like to go over an hour in my shows because I don't want you guys to check out. So I try to keep it exciting for you and keep it moving. Okay, so I will revisit you guys. Please chat about yourselves. I will revisit it momentarily. Okay, I just wanted to bring up some more data that I don't know how to say it off the top of my head. I need to look at my screenshots to give it to you. I'm still in LA, and I'm talking about what is happening to us here, and how you guys, your immigrancy is being weaponized against ADOS as they try to COINTELPRO us to silence our cries and our demands for reparation. Just give me a quick second to go to my gallery so I can actually get into this a little bit more and not have to take time scrolling through the report like I've done on prior shows. Okay, so I'm still in LA. White folks have 91.6 in liquid assets, to US Black 62.3, to African Black 87%, to Asian Indian 95%. Okay. Other Latino, well, I'm trying to do, Chinese have 90.2, Japanese have 93.3% of them are liquid. Koreans have 88.8, Vietnamese 70.2, Filipino 85.6. This is to African Black 62.3% liquidity. Okay, so how is this even possible unless there is institutional systemic racism going on, and you guys, our immigrant brothers and sisters, are being incented to keep us tethered to the bottom for your come up? They're giving you our affirmative action while denying us access to become American in the country we built before it was even America. Our ancestors built this with their lives through heinous chattel slavery, and we're on the bottom. Let me go to the next slide. So in terms of population, Asian Indians down here in LA grew. Now this report is from 2000 to 2014. So I want you to understand this is during Bush and Obama. No wonder why they're such besties. Okay. This is what them being in office has done to ADOS as compared to immigrants. Asian Indians grew 60% here in LA, 38% for the Chinese. Vietnamese grew 38%. Filipino grew 37%. Asians grew 34%. Koreans grew 32%, Mexicans grew 25%, Latino grew 17%, whites grew 13%, Japanese are down 7%, but blacks, who were only 16% to begin with, have declined 10%. We have lost 10% of black folks here in Los Angeles between the years 2000 and 2014. We don't even have the numbers for what's happened today since COVID. Like I said, they're saying we're 6% down here, and they won't tell me of that 6%, what percentage is Caribbean, what percentage is African, and what percentage is ADOS. Okay? So, moving on to the next slide. Bachelor's degree or higher. Okay? This is still in LA. Whites, 56.9% of them hold degrees, 44% of US Black hold degrees, 58.9% of African Black hold degrees. To our 44, okay, that's 14.9, might as well round up, 15% of African Black hold more degrees here in LA than US born Black. This is taken from the Color of Wealth, Los Angeles, Color of Wealth, Boston, Color of Wealth, Miami. I'm in LA. Mexicans, I'm just going to deal with the numbers higher than US Black. Other Latino, 45.7% of them hold bachelor degree or higher. Chinese, 68.4% of them hold bachelor degree or higher. Japanese, 68.6%. Korean, 57.1%. Filipino, 76.7%. Asian Indian, 79.2%. All of this to US Black, let me remind you, 45% of us hold bachelor's degrees or higher, and we're clumped into 6% of the Black population down here with the immigrants. Now, when it comes to marriage, ADOS is the least married down here. $200 liquid, 44% of Blacks are educated, 58.9% of African immigrants are educated. And yet, African immigrants are married, 59.2% of them are married to our 29%. And everybody's higher than us. Okay? All the other groups, whites, 49.4%. Mexican, 45.3%, other Latino, 37%, Chinese, 54.2%, Japanese, 48.5%, Korean, 58%, Vietnamese, 55.2%, Filipino, 52.7%, and Asian Indians, 70.5% of Asian Indians, Kamala's people, are married. The median age, our young people can't afford to be in LA. Whites' median age is 63, to US Black 59, to African Black 54, to Asian Indians 50. I'm going to shorten this. You guys can pull up the reports. But the youngest is 45 median age. That's Mexican. They're on the come up down here in Los Angeles. Not hating them for it, but understand the younger you are, the more you can do in terms of your politics. Okay? Let's talk about median family income. White median family income, $95,000, to US Black, $53,500, to African immigrant Black, $115,000 is their median income. To Mexicans, $50,000. Now, Mexicans aren't even as educated as the US Blacks down here in Los Angeles, And yet they are $3,500 shy of what we have as a median income at 53.5. Okay. 70K is Chinese. The Japanese are 75K. The Vietnamese, Korean rather, is 60,000. Filipino is 80,000. And Kamala's people, Asian Indian, is 100,000. Okay. What time am I at? I'm at half hour in. So I'm just going to finish up LA and deal with the other ones on my other show with Andrea Michelle. I just need you to understand, my immigrant loves, my immigrant brothers and sisters, what is so problematic and why you see ADOS fighting hard and why we need you to help us pick up these bricks. And I am certain when you understand how this government has been complicit in weaponizing your immigrancy against us, I am hopeful and prayerful that it'll mean more of you are going to reach out to me on how you can help us with this reparations fight. Because we really need you as our allies, not as people that we are fighting, for position down here. Okay, so let's deal with stocks. Let's deal with IRAs. Let's deal with retirement. Okay, I'm not even going to stocks. Everybody's beating the brakes. Well, let's do stocks since I'm here and we're just dealing with LA. We're running out of time. 40.7% of whites have stock. Only 21.5% of U.S. Black have stock. African Blacks have 18% of stock, but they're beating the brakes off of us with respect to their IRAs. We'll get to it. Chinese, 48.8% of them have stocks. Japanese, 60.8%. Korean, 23.6% of them have stock. Filipino, 41.9% have stocks. And Asians, Indian, Kamala's people, 58.6% to our 21.5%. So at $200 liquid and a median income of 53.5, when it costs about $120,000 to live comfortably down here in LA, we don't have the luxury of investing in stocks like that. We have to use every dime for survival. And what's so problematic with the Asian community down here, we've been pushing for state reparations for the ADOS. It would astonish you how many Asians came on those state hearing calls to oppose, they didn't oppose reparations. They weren't on that call. That's on the Senate floor. We are close to getting that on the governor's desk to get those reparations for ADOS down here in California. Shout out to the ADOS California and all of the chapters throughout the country that phoned in to vote yes on AB 3121. We're forever grateful to you. And we got your back when it's time for your state to visit reparations for you. But what I'm referring to is affirmative action. Affirmative action left up out of here for ADOS, I think in 96. This is why these numbers are so abhorrent and abysmal for ADOS. And you would not believe the number of Asians that called in to oppose us getting affirmative action placed on the ballot this election cycle. It would astonish you that these very immigrants come to this country to walk right over top of us, to own businesses, to own access to education, and get in the way of ADOS becoming more educated so that they can own businesses, because it's clear that even when we do have employment down here, we're not being paid a comparable wage. I told you our median income was 53.5, to African immigrant 115, and Asian Indian Kamala's people 100,000. So even when we're being hired, they're not playing fair in the salaries. So we need affirmative action, and they came on that call to shut us down because they understand capitalism and how it works. Somebody needs to be on the bottom. And this country decided long ago they don't have to call you nigger anymore in this country. They just bake it into the legislation. That's how they're doing it. And continue having the ADOS predominantly vote blue no matter who, lesser to evil, Democratic cyanide. That's what they're giving us. And the ADOS is disrupting this election cycle from the time Kamala threw her hat in the ring on Howard's campus conveniently on Martin Luther King Jr. birthday, even more conveniently. We're hipped because we have taken the time to become educated since having Obama, or like I affectionately call him, Nobama, get into office and ensure with his no to reparations and lack of legislation that we stay on the bottom. But anywho, I digress. I promised I would visit some of the comments over here. This is my love letter to my immigrants, and I thank all of ADOS and immigrants that are on this live. I thank you so much for joining me, and I want you to share. And yeah, let's spread love and understanding and not push away our immigrant brothers and sisters, but make allies of them. Okay, fam? That's what we're here for tonight. You're not going to see me going off the rails. Nam Yeho Renge Kyo. I'm going to really hold myself and stay composed. Let's go over to Ira's, and then I'm going to share with you about what's happening in the private sector and how our degrees don't guarantee us work. And this is what's happening. And I'm able to speak full chest about this because it's happened to me. If you look at some of my older videos, I was with Wells Fargo Bank, built up the Long Beach market, only for them to take it away from me and bestow this profitable market to a Hispanic woman, a Mexican woman that wasn't doing anything productive in the market she was given. As I was headed out on maternity leave, that's what they did to me. That was a thank you I got from Wells Fargo Bank. And now when you go to the Wells Fargo down here, you'd be hard pressed to find any ADOS. That's where I amassed my first $120,000 a year salary. Okay. And they quickly moved us out. I lost 2 friends to death down here from the stress of working with Wells Fargo and being replaced. So I got to thinking after Obama and leaving that stressful situation before it killed me. You see, I had a 5-year-old daughter at the time to live for. I wasn't going to allow that bank to take my life when I had a beautiful daughter that God blessed me with to live for. But it's become very difficult for me to recoup that salary down here. And so I got to thinking to myself, if it's this hard for me to recover 6 figures with my education and my experience up the wazoo, I've been working since 15. I attended a cooperative high school, okay, where we went to school 2 weeks and we worked for 2 weeks for 11 months out the year. So I started early in business with General Motors, okay? I figured if this was happening to me, what in the world could it be happening to those that are less than me in terms of degrees and experience? And then I started studying Yvette Carnell around 2014. Kamala threw her hat in the race, and I found my tribe all over the country for those of us who had had enough and decided we were going to come together to break the back of the establishment neoliberalism, which clearly only benefits immigrants and whites, while leaving us out when we made cotton king to the tune of $42 trillion. So this is why I fight. This is why you see me doing shows every day. This is my contribution, okay? Using my voice to sound the alarm and to inform the people who choose to be informed and to help ADOS come out from under the bottom. And do understand that class-based policies don't fix race. All of you, if only 16% of ADOS in the country is educated, all of this wiping away of student debt only cures 16% of us. What about the 84%? When you talk prison reform of the author of the 94 crime bill and Cali's top cop, You're only talking 1 million. Yes, reform needs to happen, but what about the other 35 million of us that still need that reparations? And I've shared often on my shows that white folks share $100 trillion to 90%, which is of the blacks in this country, which is ADOS, share 700 billion or less by this time. We got to factor in a lot of things right now, right? Like COVID. Okay. And I don't know how you close an egregious racial wealth gap of $100 trillion without reparations, which is owed in the trillions over multi-generations. And that's where you come in, immigrant allies. We need you to help us fight for that. Now, know that it's for ADOS. You guys have CARICOM. But our fight is in this country when we've got NARC and COBRA trying to take the money out. And if there's any money to be had, share it amongst all of you. Is that fair, given the data I just shared with you? Is it fair that African immigrants be 60,000 liquid to our 200 liquid, and then we still have to give you reparations? Or wouldn't you venture to say that coming to this country is your reparations? You didn't have to endure the dogs and the fire hose and the batons upside the head and the lynchings and the rapes and the breeding farms. You didn't have to endure that. That's what we endured here to make a pathway for you. And I would venture to say, and I hope you can concur as I conclude these numbers, ADOS is your reparations, family. All of you, all of the groups that come over here and try to keep us oppressed and tethered to the bottom. You need to have a come to Jesus, come to Buddha, come to Allah, come to, what's the one from Jamaica? I can't even think. Whatever God you serve, you need to get with that God within you and get on board with the ADOS movement to fight for these reparations, knowing that we are currently the legs of the table that all of you eat from, while the Democrats insist we sign up for more of that. We're not doing it. It is time for a revolution. And this is the last election cycle we have to do that. I'm encouraging all of you to take a look at the beautiful Green Party, gp.org. If Hassan or someone in there could type that for me so I don't break my thought, because you guys know that's not hard for me to do. I will be voting Green Party top of the ticket and a Democratic Congress. That would be far better than Trump, but my goal is to help them get to 5% so they can be represented in every state and receive the financing that they are overdue. They've been at it 20 years. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel when we can jump on the wheel and reshape that wheel to get reparations. And reparations is on their platform. As the author of the 94 crime bill and Cali's top cop tell you no to reparations, that Green Party is putting in work. They understand that reparations is due. And their platform is lovely and it is all inclusive. I voted for them last election cycle, and I'm encouraging ADOS, if you want to take anything over, go take over the Green Party. That's where we belong. Check it out, gp.org. But anywho, I digress. I'm running up on my time. And I promised I would get to a few comments from my lovely co-host, my live audience. So let me finish this out, because whites and immigrants are fully prepared to retire. We can't afford to retire. 63.6% of whites have IRA or private annuity accounts, to 37.9% of ADOS, 48.5% of African immigrants. Chinese have 48.3% of them have IRAs. Japanese have 62.3% IRAs. Vietnamese. Hold on, family. I'm losing my place a little bit. No, I don't need to read them. They're lower. 55.6% of Filipinos have IRA and private annuities, and 38.6% of Asian Indians have IRAs or private annuities. All of this, I'll remind you, to 37.9% of U.S. Blacks, have Iris, retirement. Okay, I did that one already. Okay, let's talk median net worth. Let's talk median net worth, family. Down here in LA, I'm going to deal with the Boston and the Miami numbers next Thursday with Andrea Michelle. And I also, before I forget, oh, where's my book? I need you guys to pick up my first book club reading is called Prejudential. And I'm going to be going through these chapters. I'll let you guys know in my post of when I'm going live with my first couple of presidents. This takes you all the way from Abe Lincoln through Donald Trump and all the puck-ish that every president has done to tether us to the bottom as bottom caste, to extinct us so that they can continue to deny us our reparations and Black agenda. It's called Prejudential. It's a really easy read by Margaret Kimberly. And you guys will be notified of these shows well enough in advance to read up so we can have a healthy exchange. Hi, Noemi. I love you, Black and Strong, my sister. Oh, that's a beautiful sister out of New York City. I have so many beautiful family all over the globe. Oh, I'm richly blessed. My tribe is everywhere, okay? Oh, so that's upside down. Prejudential, Margaret Kimberly. So let me finish this so I can get to your comments. Just a second. Okay. Now, median net worth down here in LA, whites $355,000 to US Black $4,000. White $355,000 to US Black $4,000 to African Black $72,000. Other Latino $42,500. Chinese $408,200. Japanese $592,000. Korean $23,400. Vietnamese $61,500. Filipino $243,000. Kamala's people, Asian Indian, $460,000. We're not xenophobic, my immigrant loves. We are bottom caste. All of that as a reminder to US Black $4,000 median net worth here in Los Angeles. I think I have one more slide to share with you. Oh, let's talk, a couple. These are the percentages that own businesses. 11.7% of whites own business. US Black 3.1%. African Black 6%. Even Mexicans own more business than us at 3.5%. Other Latino 4.2%. Chinese 15.1%. Japanese 10.8%. Korean 19.6%. Vietnamese, they're lower than us. 2.4% of them own business. And Filipino, 8.4% of them own business. And Asian Indians, Kamala's people, 10.5% of them own business. Okay, this is the table I really want to read to you guys because you're going to really see why we're $200 liquid when I run these numbers to you. Self-employed. Okay, I'm not going to deal with self-employed, not even the private sector. Let me go to the private sector where affirmative action helped a lot of our boomers to have a pathway to be American in a way that it doesn't serve us anymore because these corporations don't have to hire us. ADOS, you need to come up with your own businesses. I'm doing my best to make a business of fighting for reparations. Hence this show, hence the donations I received for this show. Thank you so much for those who contribute to the PayPal to help me to continue to do this work, because all of this is coming out of my pockets to come to you live daily. But I'm looking to make a business of using my celebrity to help ADOS and to help us get back to Black love on every front. Self-love first, Black love, all of it. There's so many more shows in me. But right now, leading up and through into the election, this is what I'm on. So I highly recommend you take your gifts and talents and create a business for yourself. Because when you hear how abysmal these private sector numbers are, you will clearly see how we're not being hired, which is why we're down from 16 to 6%. And of that 6%, I don't even know what portion is ADOS, given that we're only $200 liquid. We literally can't afford to be in LA anymore. And it's beautiful out here. You know, Angela Nirvana means angel from heaven. That Nirvana is LA. It is so beautiful and the weather's so amazing. And we can't even afford to be here. So get your businesses rolling. Listen to this, and then I'll go to the comments. I may go a little over, but I want to get to your comments and your questions. So bear with me. It won't be, but maybe about 15 minutes over if I go over, okay, at all. Of the private sector, whites are 14.3%, U.S. blacks 6.6%, African immigrants are 7.9%, Mexicans 10.6% to U.S. blacks 6.6%, other Latino 18.1% to U.S. blacks 6.6%, Chinese 16.3%, Japanese 27% of them are in private sector, Korean 18.9%, Vietnamese 35.4%, Filipino 22.7%, and Kamala's people, Asian Indian, 35% of them are in the private sectors. 6.6% of U.S. Black, whose ancestors built all of the wealth in this country that was stolen by white folks, who are now incenting you, my fellow brothers, immigrant brothers and sisters, to help keep us tethered to the bottom. And the way you can help is to get into this fight with us as our allies, to help us fight and beat this drum with your own people. We send our white allies out to go get their whites together. We need to send the African and the Caribbean allies out to help get their people together. Our Asian and Hispanic allies out to go help get their people together. Because truly and surely, I know within your hearts, you want to thank us for paving a way for why you're so successful in this country. I know that about you because I know many of you directly. And I know you mean us no harm. You simply were lacking the information. Well, today's show, I pray, has enlightened all of you as to why we're fighting to the finish, to the death, for the reparations that is owed for slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives. A debt that the government is trying to replace with immigrants. And you can look at the debates and see on that stage and see who Kamala is hiring. No ADOS present. Okay? And this is what I love about the Green Party. That Angela Walker is ADOS. She's a single mom and a truck driver. She is us. She understands our plight, and she is fighting for us to be made whole. That's the kind of VP I would prefer in office over a Trump, over a Kamala, over a Pence, over a Biden. So with that said, let's get to the comments. Oh, this is different, a welcome change. I'm so glad, Zik TK. Yeah, we needed to have this healing moment. Who sold the slaves to the slave owners? Africans sold us. If you look up, you can Google a story by a descendant of African slave traders. My Nigerian grandfather was a slave trader. So the Africans did sell us to the whites for material, cloth and booze and sugar and condiments and all this kind of stuff. Like I was explaining in my show yesterday, Brahmin caste, which is what Kamala is white in India. Dalits are on the bottom of this pyramid. Okay, Dalit is bottom. That's ADOS. This is why it's been easy for Kamala to oppress us in our country, to throw us in jail and tell the governor when the jails were full that no, as Attorney General, she wasn't releasing the nonviolent offenders because she needed them to put out the fires of the white homeowners in the hills. So Africans did sell us. We don't descend from kings and queens. Maybe a handful of us do, and I think that they may have been stolen from Africa. But for the most part, in Africa, we were bottom caste there as we are here. We descend from that brand of African. Now, I don't believe that the Africans knew that we would be treated as heinously as we were in this country. In my heart, I don't want to believe that they knew what we were in store for. In my heart, I want to believe that, they just saw things that they felt they could trade because, see, they had slaves in Africa. And I don't remember hearing any stories about their slaves being treated the way U.S. slaves were treated. Our ancestors, God bless them. We're fighting for them too, yes. Zikti K, I'm voting Green Party as well for the same reason. Yes, thank you, Green Party. I'll be pushing that all through my feed. I just love, 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 love it. Family, you got to go see how much love is in the Green Party. I'm going to push to get Angela Walker on this show. And I hope you guys come on. She's running for the VP. Howie Hawkins is running for the president. He had a gentle nature too. He's more on environment, but she's one of us. Okay, scrolling down. Leeches feeding off of us. Well, like I said, Kim Cooper Myrick, thank you for joining the live. I'm going to work on having a much higher opinion of our Black immigrants and our Asian and Hispanic immigrants. I'm going to take the high road and assume that they did not know what I just shared, okay? I'm not going to disparage them. I advise none of us to disparage them. We are one. We all descend from Blackness, okay? All of us. Asan says they're dealing with the people that have fought and died to pave the way for them to come to this country. Absolutely. And she also states we have much love for our diaspora brothers and sisters. We sure do. Kim, she's still mad. Erasure, that gap is more like a gulf. You're absolutely right, sister. I feel you. Trey X ADOS, thank you for joining the live. Easy Acts. Any statistics that show how Black immigrants and immigrants in general feel about ADOS receiving reparations? I don't have the stats on that. The tragedy is Joyanne Reed has been, has the AM morning show or whatever, has been really instrumental with Shireen Mitchell to paint us out to be Russian bots. I know she's Guyanese and her father's from, I think her mom's from Guyana. I can't remember where her father's from, but she's been downright dreadful. Her and Roland Martin, to my knowledge, is Haitian. So I don't know those statistics, but I do know that the personalities with the most visibility have been downright nasty to us, including Narc and Cobra. The underhanded things they've been doing to undermine our reparations has been abominable. And the complicity of the Democratic Party, especially Sheila Jackson Lee in the Congressional Black Caucus, makes me want to throw up in my mouth. It's abominable what some immigrants are doing to keep us tethered to the bottom. A son says, wow, this is sad. When does the African diaspora support us? Well, I'm hoping after this show, after you guys help me to make this show go viral and they understand these numbers, that they'll get in this fight. That's what I hope, that they'll be coming over to ADOS asking, how can we help? That's my hope and prayer. Moni Love, thank you. Oh, she's one of my ride or dies. All of you are. I just thank you guys so much for being here. Shauna Kim, thanks, fam. Love you, Black and Strong. Yes, 1996, the impact was visible within the UC. Oh, she's talking about when affirmative action was taken from us. Let's listen to this. 1996, the impact was visible within the UC school system starting in 97. ADOS enrollment dramatically went down. UC Berkeley 2019 fall enrollment reported whites 25.5%, Hispanic Latino 20.3%, Asian 30.5%, African American Black 5.4%. When they took affirmative action away from us. Speaking of which, family, please fill in ADOS and spell it out. Put in chattel on the census. All of this flattening of Blackness is doing the biggest discredit to ADOS, which is why we're tethered to the bottom and in the fight of our lives to prevent from becoming the permanent underclass in the country our ancestors built with their lives. That's ADOS, and spell out American descendant of chattel slavery. We're really pushing to get that as an identity on the next census coming out in about 10 years. And know that they are stopping the census at the end of September, not October. I just learned that yesterday with Felina Farley on my Green Party show. So please, 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 please fill in the census. Make this go viral, put ADOS and spell out, don't forget to include chattel, American descendant of chattel slavery. Okay. Moni Love says, yes, we ADOS have to contribute in our own way towards reparations. Yes, we do. Says, thank you for speaking straight truth, no chaser. Oh, always welcome, family. Thank you, Kunta, for joining the live and for being my keyboard warrior, typing in gp.org. Check it out, family. It's going to make you warm and fuzzy on the inside when you read that Green Party. It is just everything. It's rich. Patrick Smith, thank you for joining the live. Green Party will get my support this election. Woo-wee. We're going to have us a third party, family, and we got a good couple months to press on this issue. 2 months, maybe a little shy of 2 months. I need y'all to blow up the Green Party for me, family. Say it loud in all your social media platforms. Green Party, we need it. We need a third party, and why reinvent the wheel? It's all over there, and it's just so humane. It restores my confidence in the America that's coming. But we need to shape it, and we need to vote Green Party, especially top a ticket. Thank you, Trey, for sharing the site for the Green Party. Yes, thank you, Asan. I said hello to Noemi. Green Party, yep, all the way live. To all our Black immigrant family, we are still fighting for you. Yes, to Asan's point, please visit ADOS101.com. If one of my family can type that in there for me, I can keep scrolling and get you guys out of here in just a couple more minutes. I might be able to beat my time of 1:15. Yes, we have a Black agenda that is very inclusive of the immigrants. We're not leaving you out. We have fought for you. As we were fighting for ourselves, we were fighting for you. So visit ADOS101.com to see how rich that Black agenda is. Hi, Angela from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Hey, my family's down there, Trey. I love it. Maybe y'all, well, they're kind of Democratic loyalists. It's rough being ADOS. Your family turns against you. Your friends turns against you. Well, it is what it is because, when God closes one door, he brings you a whole new family, the ADOS movement. I got so many new brothers and sisters all over the country. I am just giddy. And I have yet to even meet all of you. But we talk as if we've known each other all our lives, because we have known each other all our lives. We are one, right? Reparations are for ADOS citizens only, but the Black agenda is for all Black Americans. Absolutely. What's up, Ricky Yvette Westmoreland? Great show. Oh, I'm so glad you're pleased. I aim to please you guys. I really do. I think this will be a lot more better received than me going off my rocker, because I'm doing this in love, family. I really want us to heal and come together and fight for the ADOS to become American. It is not fair of this government to give everyone else a pathway and an access to American citizenship above its native Blacks, who build all of the wealth everyone eats from. We are the legs of that table, family. And ADOS is not standing for it. Thank you, Asan, for typing that. Trey says the MSM still say that Kamala Harris is Black, which she's really Indian American. You know what, Trey? This ain't a color thing. It's a lack of policy and a record against ADOS thing. I don't care what you call her. Listen, I'll take reparations from a blurple president, okay? Color is not the issue. And that's what they want us to get caught up on, family, right? They want us to get caught up in Black because they don't want us to talk about these reparations. So let's stay on our square and make it about the lack of policies, the lack of reparations, the lack of a Black agenda. Because that's what it's about, family. She could be blurple. I don't care. Most people identify as Black. That's why I've done a couple of shows about unflattening Blackness, because we can't see how ADOS has been tethered to the bottom until we deal in that data. Again, color of wealth, free download, LA, Boston, Miami. They may even have one for your city, but those are the three I'm dealing with. I support the Green Party. Thank you, Trey. I love it. Green Party, Green Party. Yep. My brother, stop talking to me. Okay, that must not be for me. I don't know who this getting together. Anyway, family, that's my show. Oh my God. I'm going to pray us out. I think I could do this at hour 10. All right, family. You know, I like to put a covering over you. If that's not your wheelhouse, God bless you. Love you, Black and strong. For the rest of you who like to be covered, who like to be reminded how you are great, listen here. The light of God surrounds you. The love of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you. And the presence of God watches over you. Wherever ADOS and its allies are, God truly is, because, family, you are the face of God. You are the voice of God. You are the body temple of the Spirit of the living God. Until tomorrow, family, you go out there and you act like you know who you are, and you make it a beautiful, God-inspired rest of your evening, family. Love you, Black. Love you, strong. Peace.